Hey, welcome to our next video about how to reach internationals, refugees, and other folks like that in our communities. And in this video, Bud's going to tell us about kind of the mentality, the perspective, or the mindset we need to have when we're reaching these people in our communities. And there's kind of three big keys or takeaway points of how we should think about this. So Bud, what's the first point about the perspective we should have in reaching internationals?
Well, when it comes to reaching internationals, we have to build trust. We have to build trust, build relationships with them, and then build trust, and it takes time. It's not like something you're going to accomplish overnight. Just like if you have a neighbor that moves in next door to you, you don't build trust and a relationship in a few days or weeks or even months. It takes sometimes years to build a relationship with someone. So it takes time to do that. It starts with some basic principles of honesty. Being honest with them. You don't want to bait and switch on them by saying, hey, I want to invite you to an event, and then it be a church event where they're hearing the gospel and they're not open to that at this point. We need to be generous. They come from cultures where there's great generosity. I lived in Africa. I've been to about 14 different countries around the world, and people have been just incredibly generous with time and their money, their resources to host me and to be kind and hospitable toward me. And we need to be the same here. It's something that we've kind of lost in our culture in North America, is that aspect of hospitality and generosity. And it's something that we need to do when we're trying to reach people from other cultures. Being hospitable is just inviting someone to your home and simple things of just having tea and cookies or whatever, just to show them that you're open to having them with you. And that takes time, again, but it's part of that building trust in their lives. And there's intentional ways that we do this. And it's just really showing that you care about them. Not trying to fake it, but that you really care about their lives. One of the more basic ways is to remember a name.
Right.
And I mean, that sounds very simple, but sometimes with people from various places around the world, their names can be more difficult to remember than John and Sally.
Sure.
So take the time to maybe even write the name down, memorize it, work on it so that you can say it correctly. Because if someone remembers my name, and when I've been to another country and they've said, "Hey, Bud," they remembered my name. There's kind of an instant rapport and a relationship that gets built. And when we remember their names, that's really special because most people here don't even want to talk to them, let alone try to even remember their names. So it's a wide open door to building trust, but it takes time.
Okay, so what's the next major point after building trust that's going to help give us the right perspective?
Well, I think the next thing is to really listen. We're busy. We're talking. We'll say to someone as we're walking past them, "Hi, how are you?" And we don't even care.
Right.
And that's one of the things I've talked to a lot of internationals about. They say, what are the things that bother you a lot? And they say, people walk by me and they say, "How are you?" And they just keep walking. They don't even ask.
Right.
They don't really aren't even interested how I am. And so we need to listen. And so if we're really going to connect with internationals and build trust with them, we need to really listen. In James chapter 1, verse 19, it says that we are to be quick to listen and slow to speak. And so it takes time. One of the things is that we can help them greatly is with their language skills. We're going to talk about that more later in another video, but in helping them with their English and trying to adopt or adapt to our society, is the language thing is huge. And so it's like the biggest challenge that they face. And so we can do that by helping them with their language skills. Secondly, when it comes to our culture, to help them understand our culture, like we have holidays.
Right.
They have no idea why we're celebrating the holidays that we celebrate.
Sure.
And they can be real open doors to share Jesus with them, because we have Christmas and Easter, Resurrection Day, we have Thanksgiving. Why do we do these things? Well, they're based on Christian ideas and principles and scriptural stories that tell us the truth of who God is and who Jesus is. And so we have an opportunity with our culture, but also we need to show interest in their culture.
Right.
And have them understand that we are genuinely interested by going to their festivals and eating their food, because that's food is a huge thing for every culture. And so when we eat their food, we say, "Hey, we love you."
And plus, that's a gift to us too.
It is.
We get to try some new food.
It is. We need to be people of integrity, and they're going to observe us. They're looking.
Right.
They're watching us. If we're wanting to build a relationship, they're watching us, and so we need to be people of integrity, and that way we can communicate Jesus very effectively.
And so, what's the kind of the third and final big takeaway point for having the right mindset?
Well, the third thing would be empathy. I mean, really, honestly caring about their lives and their needs. Many of them experience what is called culture shock, and culture shock is being literally overwhelmed, fearful, confused, embarrassed over not being able to understand our culture. We live in the most unique culture in the world. Because if you go to another country, let's say you go to Germany, they have a German culture. If you go to Italy, they have an Italian culture.
Right.
If you go to Thailand, they have a Thai culture. I mean, all those places around the world. But you come to America, and it's just this conglomeration of cultures. And so we have a unique place that we live in. So it can be very confusing and difficult for people when they come here to try to adapt and change in this culture. And some just like freeze and get and they don't want to, and so they try to isolate themselves within their own culture, and we see that especially in the bigger cities. But we can face culture shock too.
Sure.
Let's say you get transferred from your job from a small town to a big city. Well, whoa! I mean, it blows you away.
Right.
And you could go from a big city to a small town, and now you're going, what? I live in a fishbowl now.
Right.
I mean, how do I manage living in this context? And so we all face culture shocks in different things. We can go to let's say we go from high school to university. Well, that's another culture shock that we face. We move from one neighborhood to another. It's another culture. So we all face culture shock, but when you move from another country with another language, different foods, and all these things, and come to North America, it's a major culture shock. So we need to be empathetic. We need to be really caring for people and understand that they're going through these difficult times.
Okay. Well, those are kind of the three big takeaway points to have the right mindset about reaching people. And in our next video, we're going to talk about some on-the-ground practical strategies that you can use in your church or even just in your regular life of how to help yourself reach internationals and refugees living among you.